here to answer any questions you may have. So,
what do you have to say to the family? What we have to say to the family was looking into all the reasons that this happened, and making sure that not only that it never happens again, but that we make everything here right, that we fix the house in every way that it needs to be fixed, so that it's as good or better than when our cannonball got to it. And that we're deeply sorry for this happening. This is the worst thing you can imagine happening. I have kids of my own, I have a house of my own, but I can't imagine how angry I would be to find this happening.
Do you, early assessment, I know the investigation is still going on, but is there anything that just intuitively you think this is what went wrong, the early indications?
Right now, we still don't have all the details, but right now there isn't anything that's sticking out as as a thing that is the thing that went wrong. No, there isn't really something that's really clear. You know, we do non-standard things all the time, and we've been doing them safely for 9 years. And you always fear that something you don't expect is going to happen. And you really try and think through all the worst possible case scenarios, and we've just added a new one to our roster. You know, this is the worst thing you can imagine happening, and everything that we do here on is going to be informed by this.
So something's supposed to stop it.
We've never had anything like this happen before. This is by far the. I mean, we have small mistakes that happen during our testing, which are to be expected, but we've never ever had anything remotely like this.
Was something supposed to stop it in the sense that you didn't think it could go this far, or was it something where it was, you didn't think it could go this far, you knew it could go this far, but the stopping mechanism didn't work?
There were barriers in place. And
several sets of barriers in place, all of which have stopped cannonballs for us in previous experiments that we've done. There were barrels of water, there was a brick wall, and then there was a berm, a loose dirt berm, which has, which actually was made to be vertical so that it would stop the cannonball. And unfortunately, because the cannon seems to have misfired, and again, we haven't figured out why the cannon was being slightly high, those didn't stop the cannon.
Can you briefly explain what the experiment was? You're not allowed to return for a while this investigation is happening. Where are you going to do your experiment? What's going to happen?
We have a long-term, wonderful relationship with the Alameda County Sheriff's Department. They've made their facilities available to us for many, many episodes, and we really appreciate that. Whether or not we come back here to film is honestly the least of our concerns right now. There are places we can go that are farther away, rock quarries and gold country, places where we go farther. Where human beings are a lot farther away from the experiments. Obviously, if we fire any cannons again, it's going to be in a place like that.
There will be no cannons fired
in
this area, at least by us again. Normally, anything of any size, we go elsewhere, where there is plenty of room to do it safely. Everything is very well defined here as to being small scale, and we have fired cannons previously to this, not had any incidents. This was simply an accident, and we're going to find out why it happened and make sure it doesn't happen again. If for no other reason, we're not going to be shooting any cannons.
You
guys
are the pros. How embarrassing is this for you?
It's a wake-up call. This is the main thing that it is. We're not, obviously, well, honestly, the feeling of embarrassment is not something that we're indulging in right now. We feel for the families and people affected by this. We wanted, some people watch our show and they think that we're reckless. Other people watch our show and they see that we take safety seriously. The fact is the latter is the case. We take safety incredibly seriously. We have almost no injuries except for a couple broken fingers over 8 years and thousands of experiments. We're proud of that record, and when we've had close calls, they have been seriously gone over as a way to make sure that they don't happen again. And like we said, this is the worst thing that's happened on our watch, and we're going to make sure it doesn't happen again.
What were you trying to prove? Were you guys here during this thing, or did you have your producers or other hosts?
No, it is our show. This was not our experiment. Cary Grant and Tori were conducting this experiment. The myth was whether or not a stone cannonball could actually breach a castle's walls. And within the structure of our show, often the beginning of the show is some scale experiments and calibration experiments. So they had a period-correct Civil War cannon. They had fired that and got some speed data from that cannon. Then they had a cannon we had made for Mythbusters that we fired before in the previous episode, I believe, called the cheese cannon. And they were making sure that the new cannon fired at the same speed as the Civil War cannon. They wanted to make sure their specs were right. It was firing a regular cannonball, not a stone cannonball. And so the continuation of the experiment is they're going to go to a remote location and fire stone cannonballs at a castle that they defend.
So you've seen what the cannonball did. Yes. What were your thoughts when you realized that it bounced or went through these walls?
We're speechless.
Yeah, it's very emotional. I can't imagine how I feel in this position. I want to be reassured that this will be taken care of. This will never happen again. It's exactly what you asked us.
As scientists, how did the cannonball maintain so much speed over such distance and after traveling through so many barriers?
When you start to look into the data of what cannons can do, it's actually quite shocking. They're very efficient projectile hurling weapons, and the bounce that it made off the hill, what looks to me like somewhere close to 1,000 yards away, and the dent in the sidewalk in the house as it was going very, very high. It's a lot of power, and the power got away from us.
Just 2 bounces?
That's what it looks like. Again, honestly, we're visiting this house for the first time. We're still gathering the data.
So you proved it or disproved it?
What's that?
That a cannonball will go that far.
Yeah.
How heavy was the cannonball and how fast does it travel?
I don't know how fast it was traveling just yet, but
It was 30 pounds, and basically, what we think at this point was that this involved something known as muzzle lift. The cannon, which was aimed at a straight and low trajectory right into our barriers, somehow aimed upward. And
again,
so
we haven't watched the footage of it exactly, because we don't have a real as to whether or not that's the cause, but yeah, exactly.
So it was on a lazy kind of up and over and down, and it bounced kind of like a bowling ball right through the house.
Have you decided if this will be part of that episode of that show? Will you incorporate what happened?
You know, we haven't even spoken about it editorially, but my assumption is absolutely not. I wouldn't try and make entertaining television out of something this great.
What was the cannonball made out of?
Steel or cast iron?
I think it was steel.
Probably.
And I'm sorry, can I get your name?
I'm Adam Savage.
And I'm Jamie Hyde.
And again, the history, you sure you say you've been doing the show for like 9 years?
The show's been on since 2003. Made almost 200 hours of it over the last few years.
A lot of them here.
Almost all of them.
Almost all that time we've been filming here, yeah, on and off for 8 years.
About 8 years. Are you based here essentially? Or?
We're based in San Francisco. One of the reasons that this bomb range is situated there is that it's in a rather narrow, deep little valley that keeps they normally dispose of confiscated fireworks and other explosives there. So it's very enclosed and protected, and that's why it's normally appropriate for us to do a lot of our testing there, because it has relatively little impact on the surrounding areas, in theory.
We love being able to film this show mostly in San Francisco. It is about the community, and the success of our show has been largely based on the relationships we've had with the communities around San Francisco and the places we're allowed to film. We take that really, really seriously, and we want to make sure that the community feels safe to have us continue filming. So we're going to be really thorough about this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Guys, we know the second site. We have to